Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Becca Holmes. Today we're doing a class for the hips to relieve pain and pressure. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to begin in child's pose today, whatever that looks like for you, like whatever is the most comfortable. For me at 34 weeks pregnant, I'm going to be using a lot of support as I am feeling a lot of pressure in the glutes, the pelvis, this entire hip region, okay? So find some props if you need. I'm going to use my meditation cushion to support my bum. And then I'm going to bring my blocks in just in case. I like to always have them handy for prenatal yoga. Some days I use them, some days I don't. So I'm going to use it to support my head. So just kind of play with the way that you use your blocks. You might want it under your forearms, or you might want it under your forehead with your forearms supported down for your child's pose. So rest into this posture. And as we're focusing on relieving pressure and pain in the hips, I want you to just breathe all your energy into the hips. So child's pose, depending on how you're taking it, does a lot for different parts of the body. But let's just bring our focus into our entire pelvic region. And begin to find some easy breathing in and out through the nose. And then just bring some awareness into that hip region like I was talking about. So your feet are going to be closer together depending on the props you're using, knees wide. And just begin to feel any sensations and notice where you're feeling that pain and pressure. Notice if it's in your glute area, maybe it's the inner groin, maybe it's the kind of really low back, like upper butt area, upper glutes. So just kind of bring awareness to the area that you want to release today and start to breathe some love into that space. We'll stay here for about 30 more seconds, just kind of resting in, bringing that energy into our hips. All right, when you feel ready, let's transition up into a tabletop. So setting any blocks aside, keep them handy. And then just shift the hips up. I'm gonna set my cushion back to the side. And then setting up your even tabletop, making sure that you are square here with the wrists under the shoulders, knees directly under the hips. And then also just naturally, when I'm having the hip pressure, a little side-to-side movement feels pretty good. So you might play with that. And we're gonna do lots of stuff here in this posture. So I mean, don't go too overboard. I'll guide you through a little practice, but at the same time, it's your practice, your flow. So whatever feels good, go completely off book if you want. No judgment here. Let's get a couple of cat-cows going just to release our back and our heart space. So inhale, gaze forward. Chest comes forward. Exhale, tuck the chin around the back. Inhale up. And exhale, pushing away from the mat. And take a few more of these, as many feels good. And then come back to neutral after an entire set there of inhale, exhale. So we're going to be here in this tabletop doing a couple of different things for the hips. So make sure that you can support the wrists. If the wrists do get a little sore, you can come up onto your fists a little bit too. That actually is harder for me. You can also play with the blocks. Now I want you to kind of stay up and supported, but if your wrists are really swollen, this will be okay as long as you feel supported, because we're gonna be lifting one leg at a time. So play with your options. So let's begin with some hip circles. So don't worry about what this looks like. There's no structure here. Just kind of want to do about 10 circles in one direction, starting with the right leg, just to get our synovial fluids moving. And then once that feels good, just take it in the other direction and try small circles, big circles, whatever you like. This alone might feel like quite a bit of work. For me, it sure is right now. Things that used to be so simple, now so complicated. Whew, okay, go ahead and rest that down. Let's go ahead and move over to the left side. So starting in one direction, about 10 rotations. And then switch it up, other direction. And rest that down. Now let's move into some calf stretches. So we're not gonna ignore the rest of our body too, right? So let's start with our right, just tucking the toes, and then just pushing back slightly. And then once you find a good stretch that feels good, we're gonna hold here for 5 breaths. So breathe in and out through the nose. Finding ujjayi, if that breathing is in your practice. Constricting the throat as if you're trying to like fog up a mirror. And then we're going to move our foot just to the outside of the left. So you're going to cross over, and then if you need to adjust the hands, feel free. And then I want you to look over at that foot. So we're creating some stretch and some length in the entire right side body. And notice if you feel that in the low back or hip area. And again, here, holding for 5 breaths. All right, bring your head back to center, then bring that calf back straight, and then release the knee. Let's just sit back for a second, give the wrist a break, and feel free to do this at any time in between any of these stretches. I know it can be a lot, but this is us getting into the hips, so I find just a lot of really great postures in this tabletop position. All right, and then when you're ready, coming back into tabletop, switching to the left side. So just pushing the left foot back, tucking the toes into a stretch. Hold here for 5 breaths. One more breath. And then same as the other side, taking the left foot, crossing it behind the right, whatever feels good. You might be really far. You might be just right here. Just find what feels good for your hip right now, and don't overdo it. We just want to feel slight sensation. And then looking over the right shoulder at our toes. So creating length in the side on the left side. And I'm actually feeling it on the right as well. So whatever sensation you've got in the hips, breathe some love into that space. Exhale some relaxation. 5 breaths. And then bring your head back forward first, and then bring the left foot back straight behind you first, just transitioning slowly, and then bring that in. And again, anytime you need, sit back in a hero's pose, Give the wrists a little shake out. We're almost done. So just one more exercise in this tabletop position. So for me, whenever I'm feeling pain or pressure, I like to do a balance of stretching and releasing as well as a little bit of work. So we're gonna do a little bit of work in the hips. So start just like we were in that last one with the foot stretched behind you, starting on the right side. And we're just gonna do some leg lifts, making sure that we are working these muscles all in our hip region. So we're gonna do 10, and I want you to do them slowly with your inhales and exhales. So always focusing on the breath, as that's gonna be a major tool in labor, right? So as you inhale, lift, exhale, lower. So inhale, lift, exhale, lower. 1. Exhale, 2. Exhale, 3. Exhale, 4. 5. 6. Squeeze the glutes. 7. 8. 9. 10. And then rest the knee down. Anytime you need here a little tabletop or a little wag of the hips just to release and find neutral, let's go ahead and move over to the other side. Left foot stretches behind you. Inhale, lift, exhale, down. 2, keeping the leg engaged. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, release. I'm feeling that. All right, shake it out, wag it out, whatever you need to do. We're gonna do one more hip exercise out to the side. Take a quick hero's pose, loosen the wrists. Always keep water nearby in prenatal. Take small sips, don't chug too much. Okay, ready for the last one? Back to our tabletop. And now we're gonna take our right leg in our 90 degrees like it is, straight out to the side. Doing the same thing, 10. So inhaling, lifting up to the side. So like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, to be silly, okay? And then exhale, coming back down. All right, let's go. And then keep stability in your 3 limbs that are remaining on your mat. So inhale, up to the side, exhale, down. Inhale, 2. Keep the foot engaged, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, 10. Okay, walk it out a little, wave the hips, and let's just go ahead to the other side, and then we'll be done. Moving on to our next set of postures. So inhale, open to the left, exhale, release. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Oh. All right, let's take a rest. Bring the hips back, sitting on the heels. Sit on a block if you need to. Rest the hands on the lap. And just take a few breaths here. So be mindful again of that entire hip region, your glutes, maybe your groin, maybe it's your psoas, your lower back. So just kind of check in now and see how you're feeling after that first bit of flow. Okay, after a few breaths and after you feel settled, we're moving into a low lunge. So you can come back through your tabletop. I'm gonna use blocks and play with this. And then we're just gonna step our right foot forward. So your blocks can come on either side of your foot and start here with a 90-degree angle. And you can even be at a 90 degrees for both of your feet or both of your legs, and this might feel good, okay? Now I'm gonna move a little bit forward and stretch my psoas on the left side, but I'm not coming super low down, using the high setting on the blocks just to support me. Nice and easy. See if you can release in, but without going too far, holding here for 5 breaths. So as you inhale, think of releasing and relaxing anything in the front of the left side, and then exhale, releasing any pain or pressure you're feeling. One more deep breath. And let's push back on the back knee for support a little bit as we shift into lizard. So you're gonna bring your blocks to the inside of the right leg and then creep heel toe the right foot out as far as you need to, and then play with the blocks again. And this might just allow you to go a little deeper and get into that inner groin and the inner hip of that right leg. So this might feel good. You might be down on your forearms. That's a little intense for me today, so I'm gonna stay right here, looking forward, opening my heart space. So find what's good for you. And again, 5 breaths. And then after 5, pushing back onto that left knee. And now we're going to put that foot back, and then switch to the other side. So again, anytime you need, kind of give your wrists a break. I fibbed earlier. We are still using our wrists and our hands, but we're just not in a tabletop anymore. Okay, so find your left foot forward, and then try to do something pretty similar to the other side because we don't want to be too wonky. Find a decent stretch in that front right side without pushing too far, because as we know, we've got relaxin flowing through our bones, through our body, relaxing and releasing all of these tendons and ligaments as well. So we definitely don't want to overstretch. So trust your intuition in your body. As soon as you feel it, just pause there. So think of like a yin class where you go to your about 70%. So in prenatal, you can even go 50%. We're not about pushing it here. We're just about moving the body and creating a little bit of sensation. 2 more breaths. And then shift back onto the right shin and knee to prep our lizard. So creep the left foot out, readjust your blocks, and then come in. And again, here, depending on your flexibility and just how your pregnancy is really, because when I'm not pregnant, my forearms are on the ground. But right now I'm up here, and that's totally fine, right? Our bodies are completely shifting. We are literally creating a whole new soul being. So the fact that I'm not as flexible, not super worried about it, right? That's not really the goal right now. Let's take 2 more breaths in the lizard pose. And then shift the weight back on the right leg to bring the left back to meet, and then shift back into a tabletop, back to a hero's pose. And breathe, rest here for a few breaths. Constantly coming back to the breath. Again, this is a fantastic labor tool and a beautiful tool for getting through even Braxton Hicks, which for me can actually be sometimes intense, and that's different for every woman, but lots of things that we can use this Ujjayi breath for. Okay, now we're gonna slow it down into a pigeon pose. So I'm gonna give you a lot of options for pigeon. So I'm gonna come back into my cushion like I had in the beginning for child's pose. So I'm going to bring my right foot forward like we're doing our pigeon, right? So my shin's at about a 45 degree, but I have a lot of extra support, you see, so I'm super lifted. And then my back leg is extended. And then I'm gonna use my blocks to rest on here as well. So that actually leaves a lot more room for baby and belly right here than if I tried to put my pelvis all the way down on the floor. And then another option, if that's too intense, is you can come into a modified deer pose and bring this left leg, knee up to the feet. Okay, so find what feels good today. And then I want you to rest down, and we're really slowing down. So we're gonna stay here for about 10 breaths. Nice and slow, nice and easy. Not a very deep or intense pigeon, but just allowing the hips to completely release any pain and pressure and release it down into the earth. Let the earth support you here, emotionally, physically. And then take 10 breaths, about 30 seconds. We'll hang out here. Let's take our time transitioning to the other side, no rush. So bring the head up first. Pause for breath too in between movements, right? Like this is your practice, this is your time with you and the earth and baby. And congratulate yourself for taking this time. I know it can be so hard to find the mat when you're pregnant. Woo. That didn't feel so great on my hip. Careful coming out of it. Let me try a different transition. Let's come back. Here we go, back to tabletop. And now I'm gonna bring my left foot around and forward. That's the thing, is like sometimes it's getting there. The transitions in prenatal yoga can be trickier than the posture themselves. Yeah, my left glute's definitely talking to me today more than my right. So I'm even going to adjust the height of my blocks for this side. And then find your edge, right? Your prenatal edge might be 50%, just a slight bit of sensation in that left side. Relax the head down. You can also support the forehead with a block. And again, ease into the earth. Let her support you. Let her take that pain and pressure for you. Exhale. And hold here 10 breaths. And as we move back out, again, take it nice and slow. So take your time lifting the head. Maybe pausing for a breath here. Use your hands, use those blocks, walk yourself up, setting the blocks off to the side, and then using the back foot to maybe transition out. That feels nicer than whatever I did on the other side. I'm gonna set my cushion to the side. We're coming to a butterfly. So you might wanna use your cushion or a little bit of a block or a blanket support or something. Or you can come flat on the mat, and let's bring the soles of our feet together, knees come wide. And then again, with everything, see what's good for you. So if you're feeling a really intense stretch here, just scoot the feet out a little bit. And if you want to feel just a little bit more, you're not really having any sensation, then scoot them in. So play with the shape of your diamond. And then we're gonna fully relax here. I'm gonna go ahead and use a block to support my forehead. Stack them too. I like to put them on my feet. That kind of feels stable. Then I know my feet aren't going anywhere either, right? So that I can find some stillness in the posture. Okay, so once you find your version, and you can also just let the head relax, just make sure you're relaxing all of your muscles, yeah? Palms face up. And again, we're holding here for 10 breaths. And allowing your breathing to invite in this release of the pain and pressure. And then after 10, turn the palms face down, support yourself as you come up, nice and slow. Make sure I don't topple my blocks. And then we're shifting into a wide leg forward fold. So right where you are, bum doesn't need to move, legs come out. And so here, if you're finding yourself sitting kind of too far back and the pelvis tilted forward like that, or tilting back from the top, just support the pelvis with a block or a cushion or a blanket so that you can shift it forward. And then you can also support under the knees. The knees can stay bent here. Let's let the toes kind of relax. They don't need to fully engage. And I want you to find an easy forward fold. Playing with the blocks always, even when I'm teaching you, because you know, I just never know how I'm gonna feel this moment. So even if I practice the flow a little bit before I actually shoot the video, 10 minutes later, my hips are like, no, we need a higher level. So play with the blocks. And then again, settle in here, taking 10 breaths and really noticing here where you are touching the earth. Because this is a very grounding posture, right, for the root chakra. So just feeling the earth under your pelvis, under your yoni space. And letting that support come again. And relieving all pain and pressure with each exhale. And turn the palms face down wherever you are to walk yourself up slowly. And then keep the blocks handy. You might want to shift them to the side as we shift to Janu Shavasana. So we're going to bring the left sole of the foot into the right thigh. And then the, standard posture is to shift over the extended leg. You might find right away that you don't have that space. So we can allow ourselves to keep over the front, like keep the pelvis straight instead of twisting over the extended leg. So play with either one of these, whichever feels good, but whatever you do, try to keep both of your hip bones down on the earth. So I'm gonna come straight forward. That actually feels really good. So rest there. We'll hold this one for 5 breaths. And you can relax the foot or you can engage it for a deeper stretch in the back of the leg. And let's go ahead and walk ourselves up, and we're just gonna switch. So extend the left leg back out where it was. Right sole of the foot comes to the inner left thigh. And try to do, again, the same thing you did on this side as the other. And, you know, play with that again, see how much space you have. And then rest in to your Janu Shavasana on the left side. Holding for 5 breaths. Perfect. And then walk yourself back up. Extend that right leg back out just to find neutral. And then we're going to transition into our final posture before we rest in a meditation. We're moving into double pigeon. Okay, so double pigeon can be quite intense. I tend to have quite open hips. So I'm going to show you, but then I'm going to show you options because I know not everyone is going to be able to pop into pigeon. Double pigeon. So double pigeon, also known as fire log, is we start off like a pigeon, but more so we want this front shin to be kind of parallel with like our pelvis. So we don't want the foot in, we want it out. And then we rest the other shin on top of it. So actually you'll see even today I've got some gappage. So sometimes this comes down. Today, not so much. That's totally fine. I'm already feeling a lot of intensity in my left glute here. So I'm just gonna stick a block here. So perfect. So see how that feels for you? And it honestly, you can be way up here. It doesn't matter. We're still getting the work in the sides here. So you can stack with a block, you can stack with 2, you can stack with your bolster or a pillow. But wherever you land, find that sensation, sit up nice and tall, and then we're gonna just rest here. Woo! So let that be intense, but let it also be relaxed, right? So think of starting to be comfortable with discomfort, right? As we go into labor. So I am thinking this being my first baby, everything I'm putting my mind forth is discomfort, sensations, movements, shifts. So I'm avoiding the P word, you know what I mean? That 4-letter P word. So it's discomfort that we're dealing with. It's uncomfortable, but this is a necessary, beautiful process, right? The expansion of the pelvis, making room for baby, the soul portal. So as you're sitting here in this pain and pressure, just try to think of it as something that you're inviting in, this experience that's preparing you, right? For this spiritual awakening that is birth. So settle in here. And we'll hold here for about 10 breaths, nice and easy. This is our last posture, so let the breath really slow down. Okay, and after you hit about 10 breaths, we're gonna remove any support that you've brought in and then slowly shift to the other side. Letting the right shin come down and then the left rest on top. And ideally, you want it to be where your ankle is coming up all the way over your knee, right? Because if we're here, we're just in a butterfly getting into the groin, but we are trying to get into a deep glute side hip stretch. And again, this might be not happening for me anymore. That's fine. And like I said, I'm 34 weeks pregnant, so I will add a block. I still have quite a bit of sensation in both sides, but just enough that it feels like a beautiful release. So find that sensation for you and hold here 10 breaths. And after 10, let's release our block, release our leg. Whew, let's come into just an easy seat. And then pause here, and then bring your attention back to the hips. And just notice now if you're feeling maybe more sensation before we started, maybe you're feeling a release. Maybe if you are feeling more sensation, maybe there's a release coming later. So just kind of observe where you're at. Try not to judge it. Just observe where this energy has flowed through your body and where the breath has hit in the pelvic region. And then when you're ready, we will shift into a side lying Shavasana. So let's come, grab a pillow, grab a bolster, get nice and supported. This is almost exactly how I'm sleeping every night. Perfect. And as you rest here, we'll rest here for a few minutes together, and I invite you to stay for as long as you need, 10, 15 minutes. Maybe you take it right on into a nap, whatever feels good. But we'll rest here for just a few minutes together and let the breath completely go. Let it find its natural rhythm. And let the body come into a full rest mode. So Shavasana is our most important posture, letting everything that we just did completely relax into the body and release so that when you get up, you feel energized, not tired, not overspent. And always in Shavasana, I invite you to continue to focus on the breath, just being aware of your breath. And also, of course, feel free to spend that time with baby, rubbing the belly, massaging baby, meditating, whatever your practice is. And I'll leave us in silence for just a few minutes as we rest here together. Let's go ahead and blink our eyes open. Small movements in the fingers and toes, taking your time to get up. And important that we're using our arm strength to get us up, not our core, letting our belly fully rest. So that might look like rolling all the way over, so you can use both hands to come up nice and slow. And then join me back in a seat. Hands to heart center, finishing the practice with one Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be with you in the rest of your day and in your pregnancy journey. I hope this class served you. Again, my name is Becca. Please, in the comments, let me know how this class was for you, and I want to hear about your journey. What trimester are you in? How are you feeling emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, right? Share it all with me. I'd love to create more classes to help you along that journey, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day.